episode 6, the finale. We've got lightsabers, we've got force powers, we've got the thing that we've been waiting for, the final showdown. It's all here, it's all happening, but does it actually live up to the hype? So our storyline is Obi-Wan is drawn into the confrontation with Vader. So we finally do get that payoff where we finally get Obi-Wan drawing his lightsaber, having that final confrontation with Vader, where it also adds in Luke's fate is hanging in the balance, where we know what Luke's fate is like really in the balance, because we already have our established universe, but this episode there's so much going on and it really does have so many good things going. We're opening on Tatooine, and we can see like Tatooine, they're just going about their day business. Nothing really exciting happens on Tatooine, not to begin with, but we can see Reva's obviously struggling from her stomach wound, and I like how they've continued that on. So she's looking really worse for wear, but she's still like bossing it, so she's looking for Owen to, you know, get her revenge. So I like how they have continued on with that storyline and like the actual ramifications that are happening for her. So she is struggling, and you can see that in her physical appearance. Warship comes in, and the little transport vessel, like I like the cinematography of how small and daunting that little ship would be feeling to this massive warship that's coming at him and is like shooting at him. So I really like the dynamic shift in terms of feeling that little dread for our little ragtag group that Obi-Wan has on there. Leia's probably best episode. I haven't liked her in the other ones where she came across as the arrogant know-it-all little 10-year-old, where she shouldn't know those things. I know she's like the prodigy, but still it was like overplayed, where she was more believable in this, like her sort of emotional connection with Obi-Wan and the choices that they make. Like I like the shifts in emotions that they showed and the connection that they've built. So it really pays off for obviously A New Hope, where she does sort of call for Obi-Wan to help. So I really like how they've established that. Obi-Wan really sort of rediscovering his powers, so he's able to, you know, start to get that feeling back of the Force, and you can see him sort of like talking to himself and talking to his master. So foreshadowing, and we finally get to see Qui-Gon Jinn make his reappearance. Like it was so cool to see an actual Force ghost going on and him finally getting his connection back to the Force. But for like the moment that we've all really been waiting for is when Obi's like, I'm going to help our guys on the ship, and he flies down to the planet, and this is the moment where like Darth Vader's like, this is it, I'm going alone, and he flies in. Like the whole build up and the cinematography of them landing, and they've got the music like playing. It's kind of like quite softly, and then as he's walking out, you can just hear his like heavy breathing of Darth Vader. Like his menacing stroll up to Obi was awesome. And when they finally, like, Obi does his lightsaber and he's like, so cool, and like ready to do what he must, and he's showing the different lightsaber forms, like their actual battle where they're, you know, going at it and seeing the different styles. Like Obi-Wan's got his different forms, and he's a little bit more nimble, trying to dodge around, where Vader is just like one hand swings to the two hand swings, and he's like really looking for that overpowering swings. So you can see the different styles. Like we're all for power. Darth Vader is all about dominance, so he wants to dominate in the fight, where Obi-Wan is able to like pick his options, keep that calm, level-headed, and you can see it in their actual portrayal of their fighting styles. Vader starts using his force powers. Like you can see the sharpness, because obviously Vader's still training and Obi-Wan has blocked himself from the Force. So you can see the experience and obviously the sharpness in his fighting style and his force powers, and the absolute raw power that he's able to do. And he's throwing rocks at Obi-Wan, is like burying him rocks, relentless in terms of how strong he is in the Force. And the low angle shot to show how dominant and how strong Vader actually is. But then obviously we get Obi-Wan reconnecting with the Force, and he just comes out, and you can see obviously both of them are really strong in the Force, and like Obi with his full awakening, just standing there and throwing rocks, like they're all coming in. And the slow-mo jump with the slice, everything is so cool. Like this is the moment I've been really waiting for, and I like how I got annoyed to begin with in the actual early episodes, because I wanted to see that confrontation, and they've been building to it with the little confrontations here and there. But this was fantastic. Like any flaws in this episode was just overshadowed by this actual confrontation. and the emotional payoff when Obi-Wan does his slow motion jump with the slice where Darth Vader's helmet comes up, and you can see the actual like emotional anguish that Obi-Wan is feeling in Anakin and his face, and the switching in voice, like it was so cool with the Anakin's real voice and Vader's voice, like the switching between them. It was just, everything in that was just heart-wrenching, and it was just what I was waiting for. Just everything about it, and just the rage scream, like when Obi-Wan finally bests him, he's just struggling to breathe, and the full rage after Obi-Wan walks off. Everything just melds together, and it's just so good. Into the Skywalker like farmhouse, and she's just struggling because you can see like obviously the physical wound is really slowing it down, really hampering her sort of style, and you can see how Owen and his wife are able to really put up a fight because she's not at her full power. Where the fight felt a little bit forced, like it wasn't as exciting as I wanted it to be, but we knew what Luke's fate is, so it wasn't really had the danger for Luke, so I didn't really care. But they did sort of put it in between the final confrontation with Obi-Wan and Vader, where it was really annoying, but I feel like they probably could have dropped it, where she didn't really get the story arc that I wanted, in terms of, I know she was trying to get that revenge, and I do want to see where they go with Reva, like if they're just going to leave it now, or they're going to actually try to expand to see what she did, because obviously she's sort of come to the realization that maybe the dark side isn't quite for her, and Obi-Wan's like, you're free now, like what are they going to do with her? I don't know where they're going to go. I wonder if she'll get a spin-off series, maybe, don't know. The whole episode felt a little bit rushed, so I feel like they could have expanded a little bit more with Obi-Wan and Vader, like they could have had a little bit more, or even the Emperor, to see how Darth Vader got sort of repaired after the beating that he took from Obi. I was just telling like Leia about her parents, and she's just, he's just telling her all the qualities. She's like, nah, it's alright, I don't need to know. Like, I feel like you should be asking a little bit more questions, like wouldn't you be slightly curious about who your biological parents were? But I guess, she's that prodigy child, so she doesn't need to know. She'll find out later. But like overall, fantastic episode. There were that few little bits here and there that are easily forgiven for what fantastic confrontation and emotional payoff we had with Vader and Obi-Wan finally having their fight. Like, it was just, everything that happened in that episode is just overshadowed by that moment. It was the best portrayal of Vader that I've ever seen, and actually Obi-Wan as well. So this was the moment that we've all been waiting for, and it's just fantastic. Yeah, so let me know what you thought about it, and yeah, you know what to do. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends.